Hey, welcome to Manny'z World. Today I have a mashup for you between the presidential candidates, Trump and Biden, and Street Fighter. And this was all inspired by the last presidential debate, which was pretty crazy. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that this piece is going to be available as a t-shirt and a bunch of other items on Redbubble, and I'll share with you guys that at the end. And I also want to let you know that we have been working on a Dragon Ball series where we're reviewing the first 5 episodes of the anime, so make sure to also check that out. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so when I was first considering this piece, I wasn't quite sure who I was going to choose as characters. More so for Biden, since Trump is a heavier set guy. Really, the only kind of heavier character that you have is E Honda in the series, so that was kind of a given. But for Biden, one of the features that stands out when you put him up next to Trump is obviously he's thinner, longer, and there are a few different characters that I was considering for this. For example, I was considering Dawson or Vega, but at the end of the day, I landed with Guile. I just felt that the caricature of Biden would not get lost using him instead of some of the other characters. I'm not really a character person. I don't tend to do a lot of caricatures and things like that. So this was a little bit challenging, and I really tried my best to try to capture the qualities of both candidates here. For Trump, obviously, one of the key factors that's going to come into play is his pouty face. He does that a lot, so I wanted to include that in there, and as well as his hair. That's two of the major kind of key features. As well as his skin tone looks like he does a lot of sun tanning, so I'm going to try to incorporate that in the colors as well. But for all in all, I think that his caricature, since he has some qualities that do stand out quite a bit, and people do make fun of them a lot, I think that his caricature and his character was a little bit easier to figure out. Versus Biden, obviously, he's not as much in the spotlight as Trump. So people may not necessarily look at him a ton and have a certain picture of him in their minds. So for him, a couple of the features that I decided to accentuate were one, his hairline is pretty far back, so that gives him a pretty big forehead, so I tried to make that stand out. His eyes are a little bit closer together, so I tried to exaggerate that as well. And he does tend to smile a lot, and I was playing around with potentially doing that. However, since they're supposed to be mashed up against each other, I decided to go with making him angry and hoping that his caricature would not get lost. And obviously, both characters are pretty buff, so I really had to focus on accentuating the how old they are with wrinkles and things like that in the face. And right here, as you can see, what I did was I took a size brush that doesn't change just to do the outline, and now I'm going back and I'm adding some extra details to help the characters stand out. To be honest, this technique has always scared me because the drawings, just when you're done tracing them, going over the lines, they just look so plain. So I've had to really kind of trick my mind and push myself to just listen, this is the first part of the process. We're going to go back and we are going to help them stand out. And I think that, to be honest, it helps my workflow and it helps me be faster. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want something efficient, something that looks cool, but at the same time doesn't take you crazy amount of times to be able to do, or else it's not fun, right? So that's pretty much the outlines that we get from the characters, and we're going to go in now and start coloring. So one of the techniques that I've been playing around with a little bit more lately is starting with a darker tone and adding the lights first. And again, this is also a technique that is newer to me. I'm used to going in and starting with the shadows. It's just it's easier because that's what I'm accustomed to. I think that most of us as artists, that's where we start. We start just doing the shadings first, and I think it just comes from like watching animes and things like that. But I find that this new technique helps me figure out the 3D aspect of the figures a lot easier, and I'm just pushing myself to try to use that a little bit more to see if I can get the hang of it. So I'm hoping that these drawings don't come out too bad. So at this point, a lot of the drawing is coming together. As you can see, once we start adding some of the shadows, it starts to look a lot cooler. We're seeing that they're popping out quite a bit more. But at this point, I'm just going through and trying to figure out some of these shapes to help the characters kind of stand out and make them as 3D as possible. And as an artist, I've never been the type that wants to make my drawings look super 3D. It's just not my preference. I like always the more cartoony feel to the pictures. And here is the final drawing. I think that it came out pretty well, to be honest with you, and I was actually a bit surprised as to how well it came out, and I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed this drawing too. So let's just take a second. I'll show you here the item on Redbubble, and I hope that you guys do choose to check it out yourselves. So here it is. The title of it is Presidential Fighter 2020. So make sure to go on Redbubble and take a look at some of those items. And again, if you like this content, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, these mashups, if you have suggestions, leave me a comment for something else I can try. And please support me by subscribing and liking this video. Alright guys, thank you for your support, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.